Shoot, what Diana Ross say? If there's a cure for this, I don't want it. I don't want it. I can't get you out of my mind. I think about you all the time because I love you. It's the sweetest hangover that I don't want to get over. It's the sweetest hangover. Oh, let's get it. Shot him up good. Going through my neighborhood. Yeah, baby. Thank you. All right. Shot him up good. Going through the neighborhood. That was fun. Oh, shit. That was real fun. Shot him up good. Going through my neighborhood. May the power of blue argonite propel you. May the power of blue argonite propel you. May the power of blue argonite propel you. You know, we share that verge of energy, baby. We give you that trident. We give you the lightning to make your own trident or your own lightning, your own thunderstick, however you want to use it. May you cut through ignorance with it. Sending that diamond energy out there. May you refract and reflect many different directions as your consciousness grows and learns. May we give you the full energy of the Virgin in its mightiest form, because you never know what fractal you'll need to cut through ignorance. And then we give you the mantra. We give you the mantra of the Virgin. And then we give you another fractal. Which we turn into tone. So that may these tones help you cut through ignorance. think that's everything. Let me turn on some lights so y'all can see how good I look. How fly I am. Well, greetings. This is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your host, Big Pontiac. I am also the holder of the infinite sacred ball game created by the Hero Twins. And I'm also that one and only Galactic Daddy-O, welcoming each and every one of the Chocolate Mountaineers on my galactic patio that reaches from Minnesota to the universe. And tonight, I am just drinking regular water, copper water. So pop them if you got them. And I am on the gummies, and I did take a big bong hit before I came on. So smoke them if you got them. I know you wish you had one of these copper cups. This is about 5-6 years old with sugar on the bottom. And that makes you wish that you had this elixir, but I give it to you in the energy. Well, oh gosh. Necessary Evil, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming through. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That is so kind of you. Definitely salute. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be a little different. Oh, I think Brother Macbone. Yeah. Oh, yes. Brother Macbone. Yes. It's going to be a lot of this stuff. What's up, brother? Peace and many blessings on the Black Jaguar. God be upon you from the Jaguar teacher, Macbone. Oh, we bringing it tonight, baby. I'm giving all y'all this energy tonight. We definitely passing this energy. You know, as brother Macbone comes on, we give you this transformational. You know, you're not going to get this too much from too many people. The transformational to showing that the conscience can overcome the matter and you can be in any form. And I don't know if you want to call it a shapeshifter, call it what you want to call it. But it's that also that transformation of thought, because before you can transfer him to something else, the transformation of thought also has to go, because it's a lot more neurons and things moving if you become something like that. But we give that out. We give that out. We also, in many forms, we give out the sacred ball helmet with the sacred face mask. We give that energy out. We give that energy out. Face mask again. The sacred helmet. We give that energy out. Face mask again. Head looking up with the sacred helmet, but the head looking up. I mean, the helmet was so important, they put it on the gods. This is shock. I call this just coming back from the storm. The helmet is so important and so sacred, they put it on the god. This is shock or shalalak. That's how important it was. Even the god needed it. We know it's shock by the goggles. And if you can see the original, there's like vampire teeth right there. Storm energy. So, do have a topic tonight. I'll say this, I don't really like to troll, but and I can't say I like challenging information. I don't think that's fully it. Here we go. However, it's like this. How long should people be misled? I mean, really, how long should we see and let people mislead people? And not only let people mislead people, let people make money of people misleading people. Now, key thing that you have to ask. Now, I wish I could have asked. What was his name? Dr. Ben, the one that went blind from diabetes. That one. If you looked at that cat, you looked at who educated him. Rockefeller. He's supposed to be a leader who never talked about America. He's always African spirituality. Again, these people was paid to do this. So some of this information, I'm going to put that question in your head already. Who paid for you to go visit these places? If somebody's paying you or putting you on a fellowship, scholarship, whatever it's called, research, the more times you are favorable, and they'll let you dab a little bit in a certain direction, but mostly it's still, you got to give some favorable shit to them. That's just how it works. So, I was on Dwayne B's show earlier, and I think that I have the fair use or whatever it's called because they talked about it. I bought this guy's book. All right? Brother PJ, what's happening? So I bought this guy's book. Matter of fact, I bought this guy's book so much that I talked to Tasha Z. I said, Tasha, I think this is a great book. Tasha was the first to make me question this information. And Tasha got the book, and then Tasha hit me back. He's trying to say that the Olmec spoke Mindi, I think is what it boils down to. So what his point is, because he's a Pan-African, and that was the first thing I said, on Dwayne B's show, that this Dr. Winters is a Pan-African. He's a Pan-African. I got his book. That's a Pan-African right there. He's a Pan-African, first of all. He'll tell you he has native indigenous people and all this, and that they use the Tariq kind of lingo too, but he's a Pan-African. So this book is highly misleading. Now, as I just showed you these figures are fractals of the society. So we know some of the oldest writings. So if you were trying to decipher writings of an older language, and I'll even say this, and I've said this before, I think he doctored some of the hieroglyphs that he says come from the Olman. I look at some of these symbols, and they seem made up. They do. Some of the stuff just is kind of made up. I've looked at other fractals, but even, okay, we can even go with some of this stuff. Okay? The way the symbols are in the paragraphs. Okay? All right. I'll show this first. So for me, oh, never mind. It'll pop up. But for me, I would go to a script that is very similar and say, what's the similarity in this stuff? Like if we are to believe any of this in his book, as I showed you an example, you would look at something like this. And it is a later time, but this is the oldest of this stuff. So you would look at something like this to understand the story. You would use these characters. We know the numbers are identical. I mean, I know the Aztecs calendar is the most popular, but the Olman are the ones that came up with the counting system that was used up all the way up until when the Spanish came, the 1320. So why would you look at script from somewhere else to try to decipher? It is obvious that if they use their math, and as I said, I don't know how much of some of this stuff, other than the pictures, like none of these glyphs, I don't know. But okay, even this kind of thing, Okay. Even, I want this. Okay, even that kind of thing. All right? That's sort of believable. As far as script goes. Even if you looked at each individual piece, this may make a little more sense. But you still see the breakdowns of the stories and the dates. Yes, the figures aren't involved, but you still see. So you would decipher from this. Do you understand? You would try to decipher from this. Now there is another group that did claims they deciphered. I haven't got that book. So you would decipher from that. Now, I'll tell you what. The book was worth getting this picture. The book was worth getting this picture. And this picture's been colorized and everything. And again, in the middle of the picture, you see the ball player or decision maker, holy person, all in one. We have God here, obvious tree of life, the way things are done. And he says this proves they were coming from Africa to go to America. Okay. Then the second problem is let me show you. Let me show you how deep his deception is, and how I'm the only one to defend them. If something like this, they'll try to put it as fact. See, this is offending to me. This is offensive. He doesn't even call him a ball player. See, it's one of the heads they tried to destroy. See that? They tried to destroy this head. But he tries to say he deciphered it. And surprisingly, they show you it's flat. You see that? They represent their heads as flat. So this, okay. I mean, we give it up. We give it up. We know where the real stuff is. All right. This is the other part that shows there's nothing African about this stuff at all. These are the hero twins. As I've showed these many times, these are the oldest statues in the Americas. There's nothing equal to this done in the Americas, the rest of it. Nothing equal to this. And what it must have once stood the foot of, we can only imagine, because they're both destroyed. Well, they're not destroyed, but they both had to be taken from probably the Spanish destroying them. But these two are the oldest statues, and these are the hero twins. And again, they wear the helmets. See that? Of the ball player, the highest spiritual person. They're sitting in a pose that all of America sat in. Sitting flat with our legs crossed. This goes up and down to all Americas. But there's nothing in Africa compared to them. Unless you want to say Cain and Abel, and they're opposite. Oh, and then even a hint of the mound builders he had the nerve to talk about. This is the picture of the mound builders. All right. This is a jade mask. This is jade. I can't say these were death masks, but the way the Olmec did it, it seemed like it was pictures of people. It seemed like they were able to make pictures of people like this. This seemed to be one of their biggest businesses that you see preserved today, is the mask of people. And it wasn't a death mask, I don't think. I know you can say, you know, it's a different substance. It's like, why is it wet? I mean, nothing in Africa compares to this given the time period. There's nothing African about this. City and mirror. Nothing African about this. This is probably, the next two pictures I'll show you is probably the finest work done. And it's lucky we have this. This is very, very small. But as you see, this is definitely not an African. This is probably why they tried to smash it. This is some of the finest work that we find. This is tiny too, as you see. But this is why they wanted to destroy something like this. Again, definitely not African. Oh, where's the other one? It's not back there. And so it's not that culture, and we're not going to sit here and let people lie about the culture. Lie about the culture. Again, the mound builders art. Serpentine mask. And as I said the other night, serpentine masks were found at the bottom stones at the Pyramid of the Sun. So they've been lying about that. A mask like this was found there. It proves the Olman built that. Proves they built that, but they don't want you to think they were that sophisticated. Now, no, I said that little piece was probably one of the most beautiful pieces of art found. Well, this piece probably looked real, but done. This probably like that Michelangelo shit. This probably equals that. This is why they destroyed it. Look at the detail of that jade. You can see the eye a little bit, but you can clearly see the detail where you almost see this person. This is the most personable of the jade mask, and that's why they destroyed it. You know, the Olmec and the Mayan also had they also had in the New Year's, in some cases, they would throw everything in the house away. I've talked about this before. The New Year's would come in, they'd literally throw everything away. So that's why some of the stuff is busted up too. It's like, you don't take anything from the past, you're into it. So this book is insulting. This book is insulting. It's an insult. But I bought it, so there it is. Now his other book. We're not just Africans. It makes you think that he's not a Pan-African. That's what drove me in. But again, it's the same old, but again, the same old. It does give some great pictures of indigenous. You know, some of the older pictures. Right on. And he does this still to try to conclude. That we come from Africa. And again, Shapiro mounds. I've showed other pictures of Shapiro, but we clearly see a helmet very similar to the ball playing helmet. the Superior Mounds, you know, I did a brief talk of that. Nothing African. Nothing African. Ah, here we go. And I have a book of glyphs. You would take a book of glyphs and you would go through the Olmec stuff. You would take all these glyphs and you'd go through their stuff because these are similar. Yeah, you would look at fractals, compare them. Same calendar, creation stories, same creation stories. So we have a much more and there's so much more that's hidden. This picture showing them being loving, but still bowing their heads, showing them loving to their children. He has the ball player's helmet on, loving his children. So I haven't just looked at some of this stuff. I live with this stuff. I live with this stuff, y'all. So this is no conjecture. This is not, and nobody's paid me. You know, no one sponsors me to do this. It's another picture of another leader. See how important the helmet was? I think I can show you that picture in color. This is the same picture. And again, you know, you have to look at the Papaval. Where does that come? What you know one thing that is definitely we know that the Africans stole from the Olman. One word you see clearly was used here first and then used by them, and that word is a hurricane. They got that word from us, hurricane. That is older god of Americas. So, and these stories from the Papaval, none of them have original origins in Africa. I mean, this is a musical scene, and it's nothing like you would see in Africa. Just as I showed you the god, you know, Talak, the fangs, the eyes. This is who I used to call myself Eight Wind after. The book is Lord Eight Wind of Sultakan and the heroes of ancient Oaxaca. Again, you don't find this kind of culture in Mexico. Excuse me, in Africa. Again, when you look at these pictures, the way they write their stories, again, no link to Africa. Because when you start studying this, you know there's more of it. And I think this was actually given to Cortez at one point. But there's also this one. Basically talks about the same family. So it's not just one type of source. It's multi-sources. And then even moving on to him and Planeki, and even his grandchildren that created Bonaparte. Or how do I say it? The late Mayan court, reflections on the moral of Bonaparte. And these are, again, his family. His family painted these or had them commissioned to be painted. This type of blue was called Mayan blue. I think Jay-Z kind of copied of it. They had nothing like this in Europe. This was a new color to them. And again, these are repainted. So my point is, I live this, and we do not have defenders of this culture. That's why when I say I am the holder of the infinite sacred ball game created by the hero twins, I mean that. I mean, there's no one else that speaks up for these energies, entities, whatever you want to call them. And even as the Macbone, even as he says, you know, the Black Jaguar priest, you know, who else would want to claim that when that energy is free for all to tap into? So, let me catch up. Saw brother PJ. Ooh. Pan-Africanism is a misleading hustle, just like the buttermilk biscuit. It's funny. Hey, Soap, how you doing? Thank you for joining. Pictures worth 1,000 words. Deep knowledge is worth 1,000 pictures. There you go. Even African folks came to these shores. We're still melanated black people here know as the Olmec, the Olman people. You won't find the hero twins in ancient Africa text, especially the Kemetic. Right. There you go. Yep. Thank you, Necessary Evil. Yeah, they're not going to tell you that. They changed the hero twin story to Cain and Abel. Kill your brother. Not work and rock with your brother. Kill your brother. You know? Kill your brother. Not work with your brother. And there's just the neatest picture that shows, brother gets his head cut off. And you can't see it, but I have this picture. This picture is above this picture. I have this in clay. Shows it was a ball court. I mean, I just think it's so strong of understanding that you rock so much with your brother. If a god cuts your head off, again, if you're fighting a god, everything goes. For you and the god to be in the same space, you got to be doing some shit too for you to be in that space. Because if you can't even hit that space, how can you even quarrel or play the game against the god if you can't hit that energy? So you'd have to be vibrating pretty high to hit that energy, to be around it. And so if any of those jokers are watching, there's no disrespect. Oh, and this is a fact. So the way I found out really about Dr. Winters was through Benitez Set. As I've said many times, Pomo, Benitez Set, and I, matter of fact, even the comedian Black Ice, when he was doing his talk show back in summer of 17, I think 18 or 19, I want to say more 18, Benita had a radio station. Benita was doing her radio station and was doing Facebook Live at the same time. And I got on a couple times. Matter of fact, as I said, I did a bunch of shows with her and Black Ice. But she has set it up because she worked with this joker. Benita works for the Chicago school system. So does Dr. Winters. So he agreed to meet me. And I don't know if he asked around. I don't know what happened, but he ducked me. He ain't call her nothing. I was waiting to see. And I wasn't even, what I know now, I was not then. If he had any chance, it was then. He should have faced me then. Because again, ain't nobody paying for my research. So is Dr. Winters does he give some false information? What do you feel? Do you feel that Dr. Winters gives some false information? Ooh. He's a flim flam. And that's just, I don't try to talk about too many people. And I'm not going to say, he's a bad person and all that, but he got shook. He started cussing. I never heard this man. He started cussing. He started that fake street stuff. So it was kind of funny. So, wanted to get that out. Yeah. I think I got all the energy out. You guys know, this is nothing I fake. I show this book almost every time I come on. Hanukkah. That's why, when I hear people talking about they were sun worshippers, I'm like, these are the dumbest motherfuckers on earth. Hanukkah ain't got nothing to do with the sun. You just talking about one aspect of it. You ain't talking about it all. You looking at one thing. This sure ain't, worshiping the sun. These are ground allies that they dealt with. So, okay. They kind of making me say this stuff, and I can't say, but I talk shit about the witches. I always do. I talk shit. But apparently, the lick I got with this ring, the witches had something to do with it. So, okay, thank you. Specifically, it was told to me, Dana Delaney helped this lick. Whatever you did, honey, thank you. Just as much as I talk shit to y'all, the word got to me that you helped. Thank you. I am enjoying the lick. Because it ain't just all hate, it ain't all hate. The word gets to me, they help. Right on. Right the fuck on. Right on. Because that's all, and let me be. Let me be. Let me be free. Free to be what I want to be. And so I have no ego. I ain't here to convince. I'm just here to present. It's on you. It's on you to ingest it, to say, what can I use? What can't I use? Now, I can go through all these books. Again, destroying stuff is what they are known to do. I mean, talk to all the people that were, well, find the information when they first hit the grounds in Iraq. The first thing they did is they went into these museums and started destroying stuff. Again, we know that Obama was behind ISIS. And what was ISIS doing? They was destroying some of this ancient Sumerian stuff. Remember, years ago, they also blew up one of those large, there was a Buddha that was big as the mountain. Remember, they blew that one up? They had to fix some of it, but they had blown that up. But this is the U.S. When the U.S., they didn't even want this stuff anymore. They just went in there and destroyed it. And this ain't nothing they hide. Everybody knows this. They wasn't just getting the money. They was going in there killing them relics, not trying to capture. I imagine they took some. But why were their relics so important? Well, we know why. Because they think if they can use that stuff, they help us for selfish reasons. Oh yeah, they want to definitely erase history. They think this is how the Europeans think. They think it's long enough that they've been taught about how bloodlusty they were. They think they've been punished long enough, and the bloodlust that it took for the Europeans who destroyed the trees, destroyed the land, brought disease into the land. A lot of people were destroyed by disease. A lot of people survived. Killed the animals. And that wasn't a major source. That was more for the Western people. But still, these animals had every right. As I've said many times, there's a reality where they left alone. And them animals are still doing what they did thousands of years ago because the society adapted to them. They knew they had no right to interrupt what these things have been doing. For thousands of years, we can say. They don't want you to know Reconstruction was really slavery too. There's just as much slavery in the South as slavery. And I know people don't like hearing that, but this is what it really was. The most evil times was Reconstruction, when they put the poor white trash class in charge. From the very beginning, that was a lot of the defeated Southerners. I'll say that too. And if you read, you kind of understand why the Northerners just did not want to fight again. They were trying to build, and here they were, less than 10 years, wars breaking out again. The only difference was, and just for reference, I'm saying the poor white trash. The poor white trash were armed, as they were in Wilmington. Look at the picture of when they take Wilmington. Everybody has a Henry or a repeating Winchester. They look more like Henrys. There's a defeat in South Carolina by the law enforcement. The law enforcement is defeated by Winchester long-range guns. They had rifles. They show that in the HBO Tulsa kind of thing. They got guns. They just didn't have the right kind of guns. But I like the agenda that's going on, that the dude took out a guy with a rifle with a 9. And when you put the CAAs in them too, and the CAAs is easy, and you have accurate fire with the CAA and SIGs in themselves, any gun you can put in the CAA, but it just makes it more accurate and makes it more compact. And maybe that's the new game. The new game is to pick off the would-be assassin. And as I said, one of the sweetest deals ever was that father, when they brought that pedophile back in the airport. And that father was like, he was on the phone. Dude just walked by him and he just right on the air. Right on the air. So if the Democrats are behind these shootings, they're going to have to think twice, because more people are going to act. More people are going to be like, yeah, we're not having this today. And that's what they're afraid of. That's their main fear. That's any country coming here know they're going to get it. Because everybody, it's coming from everybody. It's never going to be a break. It's going to be somebody shooting a pistol at you in America or something. Europeans haven't experienced their full karma yet. Hey, Black Trunks, thanks for joining. They even destroyed some of the reptilian Madonnas in Child in the Middle East, especially Iran and Iraq. So that's the cure to this shit. You see a weirdo going to shoot people off, and you see they showing the Dallas cops scared to go in. Damn. You telling me you got one of them shields? It takes a lot to go through one of them shields. I mean, he wasn't shooting no 50 subsonic round, so it ain't gonna go through them shields. That's all you do is you barricade them shields and you keep going up. You put so much fire on the target and you gotta move up. You put fire on the target and you move up. And if I can shoot more machine guns down the now, again, shooting lanes have to always be considered. Even if you're trying to be a good person and you took out a would-be a person mass shooter, you still got to consider your rounds. You got to make sure your rounds hit him, and that's, the energy goes into him. Shirilita, how you doing? A lot of U.S. commando guerrilla fighting techniques is based on ancient Native American fighting techniques. Put my energies around me. So that's one of the few positive things, non-scary. Sports-wise, does that make sense for Harden to go back to the Sixers? Does that make sense? He got the hell out of New York. That shit was too hot for him, boy. But Harden is back with the Sixers, I guess. And anybody know anything else about that? Let me tell you this. One thing to look for, as I said, Ethereum. Ethereum is up 1,500. Ethereum was balling at 900 some weeks ago, 1,000. It's up 500. So Ethereum, we had Bitcoin going up above 24,000 today. So gold is still a great buy. I think it's still around 1,700. Silver even better. It's pure silver, of course, even better, rocking around $17. You know. So, but there's see, right now we're about to hit a recession. We are about to hit a recession. And I know that what's his name, Quantum, whatever, gosh. But I could tell he listened a little bit because he used the Craig Facts thing. What does that mean for me? Float. So right now, we're what they were saying and pushing around today was called inflation peak. Inflation peak, and the only thing that can come after inflation peak is recession. So, and I agree with Brother Bomber. You have to find the way the current moves. You know, no matter where it moves, you have to find a way for it to move. You know, and again, what does this mean to me? And so if we get into, you know, that means these prices, we hit recession, these prices are really going to make a difference. And again, I think all of this has been in artificially some way moved, and they move everything artificially. As the rates, as you know, they were like, okay, well, you asked for a living wage, but then we hit you with this, you know, inflation recession, which is going to really kill a lot of the raises that have come about. So just be mindful. Just be mindful. But I'll tell you what, I think books are a great thing. The Ripper brother, God, I was trying to think of all the people of his book. So his book must be extremely expensive, because I think to get 2 million, he said he only sold 31,000. So you guys do the math on that. To get 2 million through 31,000, ooh, those books had to be extremely expensive. But 31,000 people got him up, because that's what was my thing, is how did he know the demand and be able to meet the demand? I've had several products. As I said, what was that called? The Love of Money or something like that. Is about Danny DeVito getting divorced, and in the trailer he had this thing that we made. It was a slinky, you know, but we had dipped one in gold. We had started dipping them in gold and selling them, sharper image, all that shit. But we had three. We had the brass one, copper, and then we had the one dipped in gold. And of course, he has the one dipped in gold, like he's doing a gold slinky in the trailer. Sales went off the roof. Our gold plater couldn't meet the demand. Couldn't meet the demand. Now, silver, or the other two, the copper, the brass type, fine. We found people that could do it, but that guy claimed he could do it, claimed he had the right equipment. When it came time, he let us down. He let us down. So that's what, you know, so you come up with something, it blows up. You have to know that you can meet demand. I think when the Nipsey thing came off, I think that was another thing that ended up with them and their company. Their company couldn't keep up with the demand. And again, when people pass, that'd be a time where all their stuff sells because of the recentness and the way the thing that they pass or die. So wanted to add that to that. And again, anyone's not here to change your mind. You know, I saw someone put up what Paul said is the Gnostic. You know, those who have ears will hear. That's a Gnostic. That's not in the Bible. That comes from the Gnostic writings. And that's it. I mean, you have to be open to the energy if you want to change yourself or you want to raise your vibration. You have to be open to raising your vibration. So it's there for you. It's there for you to raise your vibration. That makes sense. And so what you bring in, let me see, if you look at the patterns, inflation, recession always come after a pandemic. The Great Depression coming after influenza pandemic of the around 1920. Yeah. Within 3 years later. Yep. And like Brother Brahma said, you know, you have to find which way the current goes, because they took away the current. They said they took most of the money out of circulation. Kennedy had a bigger part to do that than his presidency. He, in some ways, caused it. Not necessarily caused it totally, but he had something to do with it. And that had a lot to do with, again, taking these notes that they made you turn your gold into, then taking all the notes away. So they made you turn in your gold. They gave you the notes. Then the notes were very scarce. Say if your gold was working for you. So, and they were nasty about going after that gold. They talk about the Nazis. These motherfuckers was worse than the Nazis going after gold. If somebody thought you had gold in the safe deposit box or safe, they was going after that shit. I mean, we should make a movie about how Roosevelt went after the gold. And they turned in the gold. And I think that's, stenching, going into the gold ain't in Fort Knox. I believe that's a little bit of stenching work. The gold ain't there no more. I mean, there's some of Brother Obama's work. I can't quite remember. They gave the gold to the Queen. Don't you think we're separate from them? We are not separate. That is why they kept Canada. Bloodstone. Or Dragonstone, I think. Yes, a Dragonstone. Crazy Sarge. JFK was assassinated because he's going to put the original currency, gold and silver, back in circulation. Should be. I mean, Libya looked like he was going to that. I mean, people, you got to see how cold they did. Again, they want what they did, how cold they did. So, Clinton's wife, Hillary Clinton, they set up to try to overthrow Libya. And you know what Gaddafi was doing? He was fucking them up. And then when they changed tactics a little bit, he brought in his Air Force, and his Air Force neutralized their ass. And then what did NATO do? NATO said he couldn't use his jets. He had to use just ground forces, or they'd shoot his jets down. So NATO helped. You see? NATO was helping the other side. NATO wasn't neutral. Because if it was neutral, you'd stay the fuck out of it. But because it wasn't neutral, they protected the advantage he had. And they tried to take it away. And the killing of him, I don't think they got him. I think that's all. Yeah. You got that, just like the other dude, Sedan. All that shit's fake too. I don't think that look good. Well, the Goldman, he mentioned the criminal mastermind planning to steal out of gold out of Fort Knox. Yeah. They say that the gold's been out of Fort Knox. Like even the gold they hold in New York, now most of the gold supposedly is underground, under all that granite in New York. They want that gold there. That amplifies, their wickedness. But the Germans wanted to look at their gold a couple years ago, and the motherfuckers in New York told them no. It's the Germans' gold. It's the country of Germans' gold, and they wanted to do an audit of their gold. And these motherfuckers in New York told them no. We only hold the gold. You can't come look at it. That's how cold these motherfuckers are. But Plod, Form Runner, Plod Sly, health is wealth, no doubt. Eating right, cutting out the sugars, the unnatural sugars. Even if, I get the munchies too, but cutting out all that kind of eating is just not good for you. This time of year, everything should be pretty fresh for you. I mean, take advantage. Most places you can get for about 6 months. Warmer climates longer than that, but up here we get 6 months. Like our on Saturdays, our markets come into the towns. Yeah, and that doesn't stop until late September, early October. So we can still get, as farmers are still coming up bringing their stuff. Some places you can even go get fresh milk and fresh cheese, and then we have a guy we get the beef from. $200-300, you can get a lot of beef. Buffalo too. You can get buffalo up here too, or whatever that is, a buffalo cow mix, because it killed all the buffalo. So they had a couple left, and they mixed them with cows to keep the buffalo. They found out that when the cows and the buffalo mixed, it would look more like a bison, because we didn't have buffalo here, we had bison. Buffalo is a European animal. Ah. I got a little bit of a compliment at work. In the John Wick movie, Hitman John used gold coins to pay for certain items and services especially. Well, yeah, they traded the gold for the service. Yeah, the gold was for the service. But the gold was also a kind of respect too. It was actually more than money. It was just you're paying to the system. The system cost that, and to get the help from the system, that's what it cost. Yeah, just showing you again the relevance. But as I said before, I think I agree with somebody who made that show about the Wizard of Oz and said follow the yellow brick road, because America was really the country of silver. The Spanish made silver America the number one wanted silver in the world. When the Spanish took full hold and was putting them Indians, killing them in them silver mines, they made a lot of money, and they never have to pray. We came, we saw, he died. We came, we saw. Okay, I don't know if you're trolling or not, but okay. Don't know who he is, but yeah, kick ass when you go. I understand that. When you go and you have to open that can of whoop ass, that's what needs to be put out. But you definitely got to consider your health if that you can. As I said, I feel so bad for the old folks because the food they get is a lot of sweet stuff. And as I said many times, if you have the decision to eat sweet and starve, even though what you're eating is going to make you, in the long run, feel bad. The Chinese call the United States of America land of gold. Oh, that's another thing. The gold that Cortez took out of here, they don't. I came across it. I might still have that information. I think I still do. I think I still have the information. It was the tonnage is unbelievable. The amount of gold Cortez came, they found all that gold. They tons of gold coming out of South America, tons. Now I think the gold rush of the 1850s, 1840s was bogus. They were trying to populate the West, and then and again, it just goes back to the European attitude. It's like these poor Europeans would be in the country, and they was poor and stuff, and the only lands they really could call their own was still in the Indian lands. And if anything happened to them, the Europeans would be mad. But these people have really broke off and broke the treaty, and it was that all over again. You had these poor Europeans that couldn't live in the town, so they would just go steal Indian properties and kill Indians if they could. And most of the time, the government took a blind eye to this kind of thing. They don't want that talk, though. Again, Pontiac was like, don't come past Pittsburgh. Tecumseh said, don't come past the Ohio River. These people were so greedy and so murderous that it went from the murder and greed and destroying nature went from one coast to the other, like locusts. Like locusts. They destroyed the country so much. In the name of technology, in the name of modern society. I mean, you hit the dimension, not even the dimension, in the reality where they are defeated when they come here, and you look at the way the country turned into. And I mean, it took a little bit of technology to feed them, but it wasn't much. But what the country turned into without them, if we left alone. And that's my problem with free will. That's my problem. The Americans, when these Europeans, it only appears like the Europeans had free will. The Americans sure didn't have free will. Now, I guess your argument could be they had free will until the Europeans came. But they definitely didn't have free will after that. So where did it go for them? Why didn't free will help protect them? Just saying, where was it then? And you know, I'm really not I don't believe anything, but I definitely don't believe that. You can study what you want, but I just think that's a trap. I think it's a trap. I do. I think it's another trap. Americans, especially melanated Black Americans, shouldn't be celebrating Thanksgiving holidays. No, none of these holidays. It's all for them. It's their pat on the back. It's their pat on the back for being murderers. They pat themselves on the back for being murderers, and you can't look at it any other way. It's family football, but for them, it's the 4th of July is the same way. As I said, the 4th of July, we look like clowns. We look like clowns. We go in the middle, and they bomb us for this whole celebration, and we celebrate while they bombing us. And it is all the melanated people in the middle and all the Europeans on the outside, and they bombing us. And we celebrate and they're bombing us. We're the only people like that in existence, that we celebrate them bombing us. We celebrate our demise. Oh, that's what Hillary. Okay, Brian, thank you. I think I remember that now. Thank you. Do I think it's just Europeans behind this? Hey, Jody, just Jody. Been following for a while, brother. Like to listen when I can. Thank you, Brian. That's nice of you. Well, that's a good question. Is it just Europeans? Wickedness has been done by a lot of nations. A lot of nations are wicked nations. And we're talking about the European is basically the French, the Spanish, and the British. And then we have the Turks. We have the Huns. We have the Huns. That's what Patton called them. And then we have the Jewish faith people in Russia, the Bolsheviks. Now, how much do you think the Bolsheviks really control things? Not very much. They lost their empire. Their empire shrank, if you remember right. They couldn't afford it. They say the war in Afghanistan is what broke the Soviet Union, if y'all remember, what broke it up. They couldn't sustain. So if you look at those base three, in America, the French slaughtered, Dutch slaughtered, English definitely slaughtered, and of course the Spanish slaughtered. And sickness. I mean, they actively did biological warfare in every instance. As I said, I got the name. If some books just tell you that Cortez picked up a dude that had the pox in Cuba, I got another book tell his name. So I'm sorry I didn't write it down. But I got another book tells who the person was. And as I said, they would cut that person up. Once he died, they cut him up because they were still infected people with him. So they knew how from Columbus that these people would start getting sick. And as I said, they would make people sick, then come back and say, see, your gods have left you. Believe in us and you'll feel better, knowing that natural immunity will kick in eventually. And that's where, it comes from. This is where the stealing of the children started in the Americas, because it's easier to control a child and it's easier to control a woman. And so this is where the stealing of the children in Americas, you just don't know the number of children that were taken from the Americas, taken back to Europe. By the time Cortez, they could take people back that wouldn't die, because Columbus, people was dying most of the time. They couldn't survive. And if they did survive, once the cold came in, wherever they went, they had no immunity to that in some instances. So they didn't exist back then. All that smoke and mirror, fallen angels run everything down here. Well, I mean, you can get into the queen. You can get into the one that wrote the Bible. Is that them? Are they the, it's Brother Bomber likes to say it's the thing between the birds and the snakes, the war between the birds and the snakes, if you look at that. But I don't let the people from those areas, no matter what you call them, they all seem to have the same agenda. I mean, Europe history is nothing but plague and war. You try to say the beautifulness of us. I don't even go a step further. I think Venice was a direct copy when they went to Mexico City. I don't think they built Venice until after then. They try to make you think it's ancient. I'm pretty sure they learned the technology from when they came to the Americas and they brought it back over there. Pretty sure. I mean, the descriptions of Cortez men tell you about Tunakantan, I think is how you pronounce it. There was nothing like this in Europe. Yet all they could think of is to destroy it and enslave something beautiful that worked. Not just being ambassadors. Not just coming to this country and being ambassadors, because that was the guys. Some say he wore the white of Quetzalcoatl. So Lot thought he was Quetzalcoatl because he was wearing the white feathered jacket. Didn't write the Bible, they temper it because it's a God book. Okay. There's a lot of books though. So, hey, much love. Alan, what's happening? From Australia, thank you for joining. Trying to figure out how I found you. Do you know Gematria? Yeah. I fuck with Zach. I ain't really got nothing against Zach. I said it. I just think it's unnecessary to go at every story, but I ain't really got no beef on Zach. You ain't gonna have me hating on Zach. Fallen angel had children and they built those pyramids. No. Nope. Let's understand the pyramids. Come on. Let's understand them. Let's get a full understanding of the pyramids. Okay. I think I have a picture of one of the older ones. Bear with me. But as I said before, okay, the pyramids in America all had terraces on them. A speaking platform. Let's see. Oh, that's the new one. I believe. Here we go. Starting to see some of them. All right. But it was a terrace. So obviously, if we have the biggest pyramid, as I said before, you can look this up. The biggest pyramid in the world is in Mexico City. And the way you find it is you look up the oldest structure that the Spanish built. This place, the Spanish thought it was a mountain. They covered it completely. And when they dug into it, they found that it was a pyramid. And of course, they put the churches over it. Maybe. So pyramid building comes from the Americas. And we taught the Egyptians that. But yet, we did not teach them. See, they looked at the pyramid as being outside of themselves. That is why their way is being inside the pyramid to use the energy. So as the Jaguar priest went in to commit, and they gave them this knowledge. You see, they didn't give them everything. They didn't give them the sacred ball game. And so you can't say that the pyramids didn't start in Americas if we have the most. And the pyramids are nothing more than the mounds. The mounds look like as some people call the mounds the star mounds. But each mound was like positioned with the star. So I don't give the pyramid technology to any Nephilim, because that's really who you're talking about, the Nephilim. I don't give any pyramid, any Nephilim, when we already was doing that technology. The technology was already here. It was definitely in America and used widely. As I said before, the originals that occupied those lands was able to go up. They was able to go up and get away. And as I'll say over and over again, that LiDAR ain't no help to us. That LiDAR is trying to bring that stuff down. That's what the LiDAR is for. It's not helpful. And this picture here is its main platform mound, but I have a picture of the mound at Luventa. And I don't seem to be able to find it, but it's in this motherfucker. Oh. And as I said before, don't think they ain't got their bodies. These are Olman. They got their bodies. You don't never hear them talking about doing DNA with them, do you? So, I'm sorry. Nephilim are still here. How did Native Americans get to America? They were already here. They had to get here. They was already here. There are things that are uncreated. Before explanation. There are things before explanation. Consciousness is before explanation. So you look at consciousness. Consciousness didn't have to be started. Consciousness in some ways had to hold back because consciousness was ready to be released. And again, it's like when I go into and I can possess beings, it is so quick that I have to respond that if you miss, I miss it. But that's consciousness again. Consciousness reaches out, and if the people can't get started from it, they miss it. Is my point. So there are things that are uncreated. Hanukkah is uncreated. It comes before explanation. That's all. So it didn't have to start. There was never a start. It was already. It was never a start. It was already. Now, I've told my creation stories. I've told my experiences of creation stories. I've told that before. So I guess you could look at that as a start. But again, it was beings everywhere. And then the next day was civilization. So do you say that we started with the other beings was there, but the beings turned into everything? So where did Mexicans come from? Again, the Olmen were there. They were always there. They were always there. There were other tribes there too, but they're the oldest known tribe. It's like saying who taught them about the hero twins? Who taught them that? Because see, people really talk about the dragons and stuff, Quetzalcoatl, but who taught them about the hero twins? That's there too. Who taught them that the ball fields are looked at as creation? You got to look at that. How did they already get here? Did they just pop out of thin air? What is there though? What is there? What is there? I mean, if we're saying did the movie already exist? Yes, the movie was already playing. The movie was already playing. So it's not thin air. Again, before explanation. Consciousness is the same way, before explanation. What do you intro for the bells smoke? What do you do your intros for the bells and the smoke? Alan, that's to clear out any stale energies, any kind of attachment energies, any kind of attacks. I'm pretty well protected when I do this. I've got quite great grid going on here. But yeah, that's what it's for. And it's for people that want to participate with the sounds. I think in another way, the smoke kind of helps because it shows I'm not trying to send out any hex. That's why I expose the bowls and you can see what's in the bowls because I don't want anybody saying that, because again, if there's a person out there, they're seeing these things as they come, they can see the notes as they come. They see that it's all true, that I ain't put nothing with the notes. Consciousness always is. There you go. Life comes from one place. So how did everyone get everywhere? They were always moving around. They always knew about everything. Who was born out of air? Didn't have to be born out of air. Well, what is air though? God made serpents who betrayed him. That's dogma. It's going to have you shaking in your boots real soon. That's dogma. But Okay, that could be a threat, really. That's dogma. I have two bells balls. They sound beautiful. Nice, nice, Alan. Nice. And they clean out energies. They clean out energies too. That's just dogma, man. I don't, I can't make any kind of comeback to dogma. If dogma is where you are, I didn't really try to hit you with dogma. I just tried to hit you with, again, Hanukkah is uncreated. It's before explanation. For getting rid of bad energy. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Negative energy, attachments. Yeah. You got to be able to clear think. Again, attachments will feed you, especially in anger. They love anger, conflict. Like some people don't like to argue, their attachments shut them down. You know, their attachments shut them down where they don't like to argue. Where others, it fuels it, theirs fuel it the other way. Oh, you don't need to say anything. What they say to go, you get along to go. If you go along, you do get along, that kind of thing. Yeah. Some people are like that and they get fed that in these situations. Or then you have the passive aggressive people, It's warm up here. It was in the 90s again. I heard Sly say it was 100 something there. It was high 90s. Hell, I was debating on leaving. Should I leave the air conditioner on for my cats or not? And because I only had it on for hours. So here, when I was watching Sly, I had it on. How the Europeans take over the entire planet if you have all this power. Well, what they took over is they took over the lower forms of being. You were talking about the higher beings. Yeah, they took over the lower forms of being. They haven't taken, and they can't even get into those higher forms of being that we still have. And that's what I said. This the ancient culture, and that's why the Lendar is so important to them, because in a way, these ancient pyramids kind of hold up these civilizations that were able to get away from the Europeans. They left the lower civilization. If you really study the Aztecs, they were one of the lower civilizations. They were a new civilization. The Aztec civilization in its whole control was only about 150 years, if that much. So that's what they took control of. They didn't get the great stuff, the stuff they heard about, these golden cities. They didn't get that. That technology is probably who they trying to still bargain with. And those people probably looking at them cross-eyed. So that's why they let them have these lower beings. Your civilization was took over centuries ago, which means you're not getting it back. But we're still here. We're still here, and the spiritual systems are still here. And so, what did Fred Hampton say? You can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution. And so, no matter what they do to the melanated people, we are still here. Despite their efforts to destroy melanated people in America, we are still here. I think I can learn a lot from you. I like to talk about energy. I'm a very positive person. It takes a lot. Someone who's always help strangers I need. That is very kind. Yeah, me too. Me too. It's like just simpler work. Yesterday, a lady, we got big pallets, and some ladies can't lift that stuff. And not like I'm just super strong, but I'm healthy enough now in some ways to help. And so I helped her till it was lower enough. One lady, I showed her, I was like, no, I'll put the boxes here. And at the end of the day, I'll come get it. So at the end of the day, I come get it. I'm moving some stuff. I asked one guy, I said, do you mind doing this? Because he saw I had moved all the boxes. I moved mine and his and hers. He's like, sure. That's how we're supposed to work. We're supposed to work. Again, if he didn't do it, I was willing to do it. But he did it. He understood. Now, should we work together? The people that are suppressed? Absolutely. Absolutely. The people that are suppressed, we should work together. But I think history should still be that eyesore. Again, they paid everybody. It's not like free money, but they got free services in a lot of ways. Jim Crow, that's when, to me, that slavery stuff, no. You can tie a lot of businesses to Jim Crow. Colleges, you can tie the South to Jim Crow and how the South came back as an industrial power again out of Jim Crow. And that's the crime against our people more than anything. That's the period where if anything was ever paid, look at that period. Look at that period from the moment They were armed, which was around the 1860s to 1870s. And really true slavery in America didn't end until the 1960s, because you had people in Mississippi still slaves. And that's just a fact. As I told you before, let me probably even longer. My first wife grew up in a house. My first wife, she's be 60. Yeah, she'll be 60 next November. So she was born in the 60s. 62. She's born in 62. In 1980, she was living in what would be a Jim Crow era house. In some ways, was one of the old slave houses. House had 2 bedrooms and a kitchen. That's it. No indoor plumbing, no nothing. So technically, they were still living under this Reconstruction slavery, Jim Crow. In the 80s, people still living under those conditions. Now they're given a lot more money, some new things. She was able to move, and they were able to get their mother off of there. But I'm just saying that the conditions still existed into the 80s, if you understand. And they don't want to talk about that. The light sees through the darkness. This is like, I've been seeing that all day by people saying that. The light sees through the darkness and exists before the light of the sun and the moon. Consciousness. The only people going to be left is Hebrews when it's all said and done. Hebrews, huh? Who are the Hebrews, though? Who are the Hebrews? The Father flooded. Well, I mean, they flooded. That's, again, the flood story is a copy of a story from Samaria. That's a Sumerian story. I got the book not far. I'm loaded with all these Olmec books. But the Sumerian story came first. So there's a lot of flood. The deluge. The deluge is a person, a creature that's also the flood. So, yeah, that comes from Samaria. That's an older story, copy from Samaria. So that story is plagiarized. So which one? You talking about the Sumerian Eniki? Eniki flooded it? Is that what you're switching to now? The Eniki flooded it? Or actually it'd be Marduk. Marduk flooded it. So you got to take that. If you're going to say father, you talking about Marduk. Marduk flooded everything out. After Marduk had the Mai, after Marduk also had the ultimate weapon. Well, they used the ultimate weapon and missed, supposedly. Tobacco is nice. Nope, it happened. That's why those pyramids are empty. That's not just a Sumerian story. It's taught in Mesoamerican as well. I really haven't found it in Mesoamerica. The Mesoamerica flood story gets into what I found in Mesoamerica is actually a little bit of the opposite. The trees being so high that the gods couldn't climb out of them, because that's how the hero twins tricked 2 demigods, which the hero twins are supposedly demigods. I've heard one dude tell a story of going up in the trees during the flood, but I personally have not come across that story at all. And if such a story existed, it would be in here. The gods and symbols of ancient Mexico and the Mayans. So if there was a flood story, it'd be in here. It's not really a flood. Or the Papayval. Now, the Papayval do talk about their people were made out of wood at one time, and that the wooden people were destroyed by the gods. So very similar story in some ways. The wood people, again, you can see where the Spanish kind of added shit. Hope you all can't leave the earth. Marduk didn't do anything? Okay, you ain't really studied. How come you can't leave the earth? I can leave my body. And when I leave my body, I leave this earth. So you can. I said, when I hit my head, I left my body and watched myself, watch me fall and hit my head. I was like eye level watching where my head hit. I don't even remember hitting my head. I watched it. I was looking at myself. It's like as soon as I fell, I popped out of my body and I looked at myself fall. And so I try to be like a neutrino. I try to go through all of it. Can't get trapped. Free to freely move. for whatever they say is here. So I'll say we should be limitless as a neutrino. Whatever's out there, we should, if that's free will, then we should be able to be neutrinos and just move. Because the trap is staying here. That's it. That's why the people that believe in reincarnation, I mean, hell, if you're in a heaven that's still hovering over this thing, you ain't in a real heaven. It's going to collapse. And I'll say this. I think that one thing the quantum of science says is right is they're trying too hard. So there is something that they're lacking. Something's going on. Something has disturbed this thing that I think, these last couple years weren't supposed to happen for some years now, and they ripped it up. So this fear program, again, however Biden got in, all this seems to be wrapped up. Yeah, you split. Your spirit goes into the underworld, but you physically can't leave. You're trapped here. Hebrews are the ones in America Day, the black people. Okay. Three's a different three. Yeah, even the dragon didn't come back through to leave the earth. That's why the dragon's mad. Oh, okay. The Hebrews are the brothers? I don't know. Very unlikely. Because I want to say this. Europeans benefit from the back to Africa or the out of Africa theory. Europeans benefit from that. And I said this the other night. They benefit. And when you got Dr. Witters, Captain Form and all these other Pan-Africans, even though they'll admit that they got families that was Indians, but they're like, they just can't. They're so indoctrinated. They love Africa, but the European needs the out of Africa theory. That they need that. Because that's what they look as existence from. Even though they tell you black folks, they look at their existence as starting as branches off of that. And that's what ancestry production, he follows, their DNA and all that stuff that they use. And I say all that is poppycock. That's what I say. I say all that is poppycock. So they're not from America or Africa. They're from the Middle East. No, okay. I don't know about even that. Even that's very unlikely. There was nothing really there in the Middle East. But again, that's all dogma. I don't need to argue dogma. I stated what I practice. 8 calendars of the Mayan. These are the fractals I work with. Now here we go. This is the stuff I was looking for. The pyramid temple of the Nanchi of El Kanja, Veracruz. The niches of the first Mesoamerican pyramid are cosmic calendar markers. It's not precisely known what people built this. Duh, we know who built it. Nor is its original name. Of these ancient temples, the pyramid temple, the gods emerged at this place. Blah blah blah. So just showing. Again, this is the terrace where the energy comes from, or portal. Or the portholes. Again, they're trying to show you how there's even the ziggurats. So and see, it ain't just Aztec calendar, it's all these calendars. It's not just one. There's a bunch of different calendars. This is but it's based, this one's based on the 1320 rhythm. And that's the true rhythm, if you want to say there's a rhythm. I'll read this one. I'll read that one. So what it says is, the drawings on the top is based on an image from the Chilean Balm of Chimaili. and offers us the important teaching from the Mayan civilization about cosmic law. The original drawing shows several markers in the form of a similar circle. After a great deal of study and meditation, it was possible to decipher as shown here. The upper part is from the sun connected to the human body. Here the Mayan priests are telling us that the human beings is part of the sun or Hanukkah. The pyramid below is shown upon the sun and the human being on the terrace or the portal. And a lot of this book, he's racist too. So, not a great book, but somewhat useful. Somewhat useful. So, so the energy that the things you put around you, this stuff is my passion for some reason. This all started with the time walking papers, led me to all this, and helped me crack the code, I think, in a lot of ways. And the information keeps coming. It's not like it ever stops. The information starts. I'm still the student. Even though I'm the master teacher, I'm also the student. So I'll never leave that position of the student. It's not that I need to keep absorbing, but you're never too old to be amazed. I mean, I'm still only 3 years from learning the Tsar stuff. So I'm never, it's still amazing in some instances. And so I have a great group of guys that put information together, that these little pricks that we get, these little things that stressors. That's what Form Runner was talking about. Stress. Stress that the boogeyman is out there in the form of disease. Stress because you got to wear these masks. They're going to make you more stressed. They gave me the only strike on this channel was talking about the mask back then. I mean, stress is something to deal with. Now, as I said before, and I live this, is, you really should sleep through night. I mean, I understand what Forerunner was saying. You got to get good sleep. There is a kind of cosmic clock for everything. And wildlife pretty much sleeps at night too. Most wildlife. There's just certain animals. But for the most part, everything sleeps on the same cycle. Which is interesting, which goes back to what's the movie? In the Tuners, Dark City. Goes back to Dark City. Why do we have to sleep to regenerate? That really doesn't make a lot of sense in some ways. Look, I am real with you. I am 40. That stuff is all made up. I don't know what stuff is made up you're talking about. I don't know what stuff is all made up what you're saying, because I'm not talking dogma. I'm talking research. I'm talking useful research from a person that first was able to hit the etherical realms at 20 years old, and I am now 61. So the spiritual movement's been going for that long. I've been having spiritual experiences since the 1980s. But my people are spiritual too. I've learned more and more. My dad, I remember the only spiritual thing my father said to me is he told me, my ex-wife was my luck. Interesting. Thank you. He told me my ex-wife was my luck. My grandfather gave me a lot of spiritual advice. He passed the spiritual advice to me, and my great-grandfather. So, yeah, science is not real. I'll agree with you that. All that science and all them stories and all them castles, all that shit is made up. It's fairly new stuff. The Great Renaissance and all them paintings, that shit, I'm telling you, that's if that's anything, this reality ain't that old. I'll say that. This reality is not that old. It's not old. That's one thing I'll say that the mud flood helped reveal, that this reality in some ways can't be as old as that stuff we see in Europe. So, but I don't try to teach you the dogma. You make up your own mind. That's all. You make up your mind for yourself. And you have to take these things in and see what it means to you. That's all I can put out there. I can put it out there and you use your own discernment. But you seem like an agreeable person, so we can agree to disagree. So that's your thing. Right on, bro. Right on. You 40 years old and that's where it brought you? Right on. I ain't here to change you. I ain't here to change anybody. I am here to put out the information. It's for you where you want to take the information. That's all. That's what my purpose is. It's what you want to do with it. That's all there is to it. That's all. And I'm real. I'm real. And that's the other thing is how many people around you are real. That's an interesting thing. Because it seems like they're real, but really, how many real people do you think you run into? Do you think the people you see driving cars by you is real? When you go drive car, do you think all those people are real? Like ants, going all these different directions. Do you think that's real? Does it feel real? Do you think the person in the car next to you's got a whole story? Does it seem like that? Remember, what did they say? The only time something's real is when you can see it. So, you guys just exist as names. PJ and a couple of y'all can call me, so I know that. But realistically, I only exist when you can see me. Or whenever you play this back. And I think I've been consistent with my message. Especially this channel. This channel was the other channel was from 14. This channel is a year old. But those of you that saw my stuff on slide stuff, I ain't changed. I think of my old stuff out of my old name, that's one of the things that exists. Me and Sly from 17, I think is still up there. Some of our old interviews, our old panel stuff with Darkman. Some of that still exists. Or just me and him. But sometimes it's just me and him. So you can look at my message. My message ain't been different. But I says I learned the Czar stuff from Brother Bomar. And the way he used it and the way I used it is two different things. So he exposed me to it, and I was able to run with it. Same with the time warping papers. He's like, "Can you run with this?" Yes, but it didn't end there. It didn't end there. It didn't end there. Still going. And that's how all you should be. Shouldn't end. Should be still. And as you are exposed to these things, I think the great question is, what does this mean to me? I think that's great. I really do. I think that tells a lot. What does it mean to me? What is it? That tells a lot, I think. So I just wanted to come back, hour and a half, hour 40. Okay, it's probably good enough. Still got a busy day tomorrow. Got to get some shit done. So yeah, I'll be back on tomorrow night. I think I touched on everything I wanted to touch on today. So you make up your mind, you look at these things and you say, is there agenda behind it? All these books, these $100 worth of books, I bought them on my own. And I do appreciate when people, donate, but I got all this stuff on my own because this is my passion. So that's why I went out and got it. I ain't got to say, well, guys, you send me $10 more, I can, no, I take this all upon myself because this is what I love. And I put my energy in the things that I love. And I don't try to come with dogma. All I can do is open the path up. It's up to you how you use it. Because even though I may have went to the path, through the path before you, the path ain't going to be necessarily the same as you. But there is a path that you make it. As I said, it's a path in war. It's a path. It's guaranteed. War is almost like a video game. There's a clear path that you can go through in war and survive. I think I've proven that over and over again. You can take steps. You can go back to these old battles and you can follow steps of a person who's won. And you ain't got to be right with him, but you stay kind of near him, you'll make it. You'll make it. Because the path is already there that shows you how you live, how to make it. And a lot of times it's, inches. Bullet, little fragment, inches from hitting you. And as crazy as Vietnam was, the same thing. Crazy as Korea, same thing. Both, there's clear paths. If you were able to go back in time and follow the person that went, you would see that every step he took, you'd see in front of him that there's a path that would direct him. That's consciousness moving right there. And that shows you that consciousness or the machine is kind of dirty because it understands war, but yet it wants people to live through war. You understand that? The thing understands war, but it can't let everybody get killed in war. I know you said some stuff on Slide Channel some years back, and I was like, damn, this brother's deep. Thank you. What's this crap? Mike Tyson said he's going to die soon. I haven't heard about that. We have a birthday on the same day. I don't know. I'd have to look that up, PJ. Sorry you're feeling like that. Maybe they're coming after him. He had to give up his daughter, which is terrible the way they killed her. Terrible. The way they set that up to make it look like. But that's what it took for his fame. That's why, I've said before, shaming is better than the blood. Better to get shamed. In a lot of ways, he did get shamed, but it wasn't enough. He had to give up the blood, too. Especially the blood of a female child. That's killing the line, That's killing that line. So it must have been something they saw in that line. They had to get rid of her. I'm saying I've been having a lot of these fringe experiences where, I don't know, there's something going on. There's something definitely going on. Catching this thing too much, doing this weird stuff. So, I don't know, y'all. I have to look at that. Well, I'm going to end it with Mora. But whatever I say, I do try to end the show with something positive. And so as you rest tonight, know that you're protected. Know that if you make that intention of not being disturbed during your rest, because you made that intention, you shouldn't be bothered. So rest well in your creation ball field or as your bed. Those of you at work, may you work safely. Those of you traveling, may you travel home safely. May everybody, have joy. Remember, love just is. Love just is. Love has no boundaries. Love has nothing but just love. Some more. It all starts with a gentle sadness. They came from their original homeland, yet they knew that they had an exact number of years and days before they would disappear off the earth as a culture and as a lifestyle. But they built the civilization to a gentle love, perfection. They lived in the Creator's day and knew how to separate cycles in the great serpent, which is our Milky Way. They knew how to leave their bodies. And as the mind would say, I am another yourself. So treat your other selves like it's you. And in closing, the words of Robert Heinlein, or Hyland, through the character Lazarus Long, the days are long, but the years are short. Y'all, thank you for joining me. As I said, I don't care if one watches or however many. I don't care how many subscribers. None of that matters. I try to put the information out. So if people have to watch it on a later date, you still can receive it. I think he says his time is coming up. Keep seeing him everywhere. You know what, though? I had predicted that a while ago about him. I predicted that. I really thought Rodman was going to get it. I really thought 1920 Rodman was going to get it because he was coming up way too much. And they kind of laid off Rodman. But I really thought Rodman was about to get it. So could be. But again, I'd rather take shaming. Plus, he went to prison. So. And it's funny. You can look at Mike Tyson and Ali. They wanted to put Ali in prison. Ali was out on appeal. So. But Tyson was set up. They put actors. They put people in front of him to set him up. And not being a disciplined person, he went for it. He was simple, you know. He was a simpleton. He was a dude that really wasn't used to getting women like that, you know. And certainly didn't know when he was being set up. Certainly didn't know he was being set up. So, well, I think I've said enough. Got out what I wanted to get out. Dr. Winters, Dewan, anything you want to question about this, we can do it again. Okay? And ain't no university behind me. I don't need to go to them places physically. I don't need to go to that stuff physically. I got this stuff around me. When I want to go use that energy, the energy's open to me. Dr. Winters, is the energy open to you? And you're just talking about it. I mean, I don't even know if the African energy is open to you. I've said this story before, and I should have brought my Atanagan out. Tut is going to be here again. I'm going again. Maybe the statue of Atanagan. And I'll say this, and I've said this, and maybe I said it the other day, but I'm going to say it again. And I saw that statue. That statue paralyzed me. I mean, there was some kind of download given to me then, no doubt. Something was downloaded to me. Now, you know, I study Hathor because Hathor is another copy of Mu, direct copy of Mu. That's, again, their spiritual system is a direct copy of the American spiritual system, Mu. They turned it into Ah instead of Hathor. But the oldest goddess is Hathor. So there was some kind of download given to me. Some type of magic given to me. So I appreciate that. So I don't count all that energy out because I know what that statue did. I know everybody who saw that statue probably had the same, well, no, it didn't wake everybody up. I think it worked with me because I'm real. It worked with me because I'm real. And that's why it pinged me. So, well, thank you. Remember me saying that about Rodman? Yeah, I thought they was about to get Rodman. He was on too much. He was on too much, and that's what they do. But again, Dana Delaney, thank you for the lick. If you had some kind of magic that put this shit in front of me and I was able to hit the lick, thank you. I talk shit about you when y'all do that goofy shit, but when you help me hit licks, thank you. I appreciate it. The Queen threw that out there, so I have to thank you because that's what she said. She said these she's got something to do with your lick. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But if you want that dick in real life, holla at your boy. Because that dream shit is getting old. You know, I like admire you in the dream and ravish you in the dream, but that shit ain't enough. So stop coming in the dreams. Thank you for the lick, though. I'm right here. Holla at a brother. I mean, I broke that little lady. That little lady about 67 years old. She couldn't handle me. She could not handle me. She only about 5'1", 130 pounds. She couldn't handle me. But I would Star Trek her. You know, I'd take her to, you know, to beyond the universe and beyond. I would definitely put you in Star Trek, baby. You think that once we connected, you was on the Enterprise, no doubt. I got some warp speed, baby. I would hit you with that warp speed. She'd be like, "What's happening? What's happening?" You know, they show the warp speed and everything get blurry. The room would start shaking and shit. She's like, "What is going on?" Put your seatbelt on, baby. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. You guys know I just like having fun. I like having fun. They have fun with me, so I have fun back at them. So this has been the Chocolate Mountain Show. This is your guy, A-Wind. Till we meet again, say less. Break it back like Kit Kats. Ah, it's funny, Valerie. Say less, y'all.